Rev up your engines!
Well, it looks like Kia's trying to join the pickup wars called the Kia Tasman. Say that 10 times fast. Kia Tasman, Kia Tasman. Not that easy to say. It is a ladder frame. It has an actual frame. It's going to compete with Tacomas. That's what their plan is, you know. Tacomas have frames, too. See, the Hyundai Santa Fe and Hyundai and Kia are pretty much the same company. They share all kinds of stuff, but they don't want to compete with their small truck, so they're going to make a midsize truck with an actual frame, and they claim they're going to make an off-road one, too. Now, they're not for sale yet in the United States. They're not going to release them until 2025, but, hey, probably not a bad idea. With Toyota having problems with some of their V6 twin-turbo engines, and now their Tacomas are only coming with 4-cylinder turbo engines. If Kia comes in with a good mid-size pickup, they might start selling a whole bunch of them. I remember back in the day, it was always Ford, Chevy, Dodge pickup trucks, right? Then Toyota came up with the T100. That was Toyota's first big pickup truck. And everybody said, oh, the Bubbas, they're not going to buy Toyotas. Guess what? I see Bubbas all the time in Tennessee around me here, driving around Toyota Tundra pickup trucks. They love them because they hold up. People want something that holds up. And if Kia can make a mid-size full-frame pickup, you can go off-road, tow a lot of stuff with it, has a frame so it can take damage and you can still fix it and drive it, unlike unibody. Once the unibody's bent and the vehicle, hey, maybe they'll sell a bunch of them. Only time will tell. Well, it looks like Ford's getting desperate. Check out this picture. Ford is now talking about making a 4-door Mustang. Heavens forbid, it's sacrilegious. A 4-door Mustang. They are the classic 2-door sports car. But now, hey, they're going to make a Ford. They haven't made any yet. It's a secret thing they were talking amongst the Ford dealers, and they weren't supposed to tell anybody about it, but obviously somebody opened their mouth and talked to the press. There was a meeting in Las Vegas, and they had drawings and pictures of 4-door Mustang. So it would be the first Mustang sedan. What do they say? It's like beating a dead horse. So keep beating it. Get up. Come on. Beat it. So you can get a little bit more out of it. They've already ruined the name by calling the Mustang electric vehicle a Mustang when it's not a Mustang. It's an electric SUV just with the name Mustang tagged on it. But I mean, even Porsche has SUVs and they've had them for a long time now. So none of the sports car stuff means anything anymore. But if they make a 4-door sedan and call it a Mustang, well, I'm sure the purists will hate it. They'll scream and yell saying, you ruined our Mustangs. Now they're sedans. How boring can you get? But, you know, Ford's got their back against the wall. I guess they'll try anything to make a buck these days. Well, GM is facing a possible class action lawsuit over their engines blowing up. There is now a GM crankshaft engine failure class action lawsuit investigation for Chevy, GMC, and Cadillac Escalades. Their lack of quality goes on. They've had engine problems for ages. Now, these are all 6.2-liter V8s, the big V8 engines. Turns out that they seem to be having problems with the crankshaft bearings. Well, what you don't understand is the crankshaft spins around the bottom of your engine. There's bearings, little thin metal pieces and shells that hold it in place, and it spins on it. If they fail, your engine goes kaput. Goodbye engine, right? Now they've had multiple issues with the L86 and L87 variants. These things are in 2014 and later Silverados, Sierras, 2015 and later Tahoes, 2015 and later Suburbans, 2015 and later GMC Yukons, 2015 and later Cadillac Escalades. Now, if you own one of these, check it out. You can get into a class action lawsuit over the problems that they've had with the engines blowing up. Mind you, a lot of times they get away with it. They have a lawsuit and then they say, oh, there's no reason for that lawsuit. Well, obviously, they're not making the engines right. Now, you can hear the knocking sound, the pistons rattle. Sometimes the engine will lock up and not run. Sometimes it will blow up while you're driving down the road. There's what they say. Engine seizure is potentially dangerous because it can cause an immediate loss of power as well as rapid deceleration while driving. No duh. Your engine locks up and it's frozen. Your car's going to decelerate pretty fast, right? Happens on a highway, you're screwed if there's people all over the place. So some of them are misaligned, they lock up. Some of them throw metal pieces, of course, inside, which will destroy the engine. Like the Toyotas had problem with those V6 Tundra twin turbos, where pieces of metal are inside, and Toyota's got to replace 100,000 engines. Imagine if GM had to replace all these engines. They'd Probably make them go bankrupt, all those millions of vehicles that have those engines in them. Hey, here we go again. Lack of quality in American vehicles. They got too much into selling them high, building them cheap. It isn't just Ford that has problems. Well, be happy you're not like this guy in Colorado who says, I bought a brand new $70,000 car. I can't even drive. I wish I'd seen the red flags before it became a lawn ornament. Well, if you haven't guessed yet, he bought himself a Fisker Ocean. And now the company's bankrupt. As of today, the stock is now worth 2 cents on the market. That's 2 cents a share. Buy them while they're hot. 2 cents a share. Now this guy, he was so embarrassed, he remained anonymous when he was being interviewed, but he told the story. He bought the car in November 2023, but he couldn't use it because the battery had a problem. It didn't work right. It was finally fixed. Only now, more parts are broken. Of course, there's nobody left to fix them. And as he says, I have a car loan for 5 years for 70 grand. So I'm paying for a brand new vehicle that I can't drive. Well, don't say I didn't warn you, buddy, but electric cars are not ready for prime time, especially companies that just came out of nowhere. Realize this. Fisker didn't even make their own cars, right? These cars were made by this Magna company in Austria. They were made for production. They tell them what they want, and that company made them. They didn't even make their own cars. They were what everybody can't stand, yet another middleman in our society. We really don't need all these middlemen. They really don't serve a purpose. And in this case, the company's gone. These people's $70,000 cars aren't even working. They got to still pay for them because they bought them. But they're basically worth almost nothing. They still got 10,000 of them they've got to sell, and they're just trying to get whatever they can for them. Who would buy one, right? Where are you going to get parts from? The company's bankrupt. Nobody's going to make them. They try, we'll sell it to another company. Why on earth would a company like Ford, GM, Toyota, Honda, whatever, want to buy this company? It's a failed company. And they're already looking forward. Last quarter, they lost like $1.5 billion on electric cars or more. Do you think they're going to buy another electric car company that failed? Of course they're not going to. So I feel sorry for these people, but really, listen to me. Electric cars are not ready for prime time. If you're going to get one, wait a few years. Well, say it ain't so, Joe. Well, guess what? Harley Davidson is now going to start making some of their motorcycles in Thailand. So much for built in America, American pride. They're going to make them in Thailand. Well, I got one thing to say about this, and it may sound bizarre, but as far as I can tell, it's true. They build them better in Thailand. For example, I own a Triumph Thruxton motorcycles, the twin-cylinder 900cc. Triumphs were known for a lack of reliability. They leaked oil. They wouldn't start. Mine's the exact opposite. It always starts. It doesn't leak oil. It runs fine. And guess where it was made? Thailand. Ages ago, the British factory, I guess, burnt down. They moved production of the twin-cylinder Triumphs to Thailand. Something like, I guess, 13 Brits went there, and then they made the factory in Thailand, and the Thais worked there. Well, the Thais seem to have a really good work ethic because I've owned an English motorcycle since I was a teenager, right? But the one that I have that's made in Thailand, hey, it's the best one. Now, of course, the Brits are like the Americans. They try to hide it. My motorcycle's all these British insignias of British flags and stuff, right? And the only way you can tell it's made in Thailand is you look at the serial number. And when you decode the serial number, the number that mine has decodes for Thailand and not England, right? Same thing with a car you buy in the United States. The VIN number, the first number, will tell you where the car was made. By law, it has to say. All the Americans are up in arrears, making Harley Davidson outside of the United States. Actually, if you drive Harley Davidson, it will probably be a big plus because the Thais seem to do a much better job than the Brits and everybody who's ever owned a Harley Davidson. And will tell you the truth, their quality isn't that great. Friends of mine said have Harley's engines blew up, transmissions blew up, and these are relatively late model ones too. They're living on a name, right? So what? If they make it in Thailand and they make them better, hey, I'm all for it, better quality. That Triumph I have, that's made in Thailand. It's the best one I ever had, so maybe it's actually a good move. Well, check it out. It's a lot more than a rumor. Here is the beginning construction of Elon Musk's giant 24-hour Tesla drive-in and diner. Now, guess where it is? Hollywood. It's in La La Land. You're going to have drive-in movies and have food there while you're charging your Tesla at the superstation. Now they finally broke ground in September. You can see they got a shell. It's working up. You can see it looks like a kind of 50s diner. It's kind of retro futuristic, right? So far, they got 2 stories, the shiny exterior, kind of spacey looking. I mean, when I was a kid, they were always making restaurants try to look like spaceships, like flying saucers. There's still one in Niagara Falls, Ontario, that looks like a flying saucer. It's still there. It's still in business. And strangely enough, it was even in one of the worst movies ever made, this Canadian movie. I think they made the movie for like $100,000 or something. It's one of the worst movies I've ever seen. Well, who knows? Maybe his little restaurant, it'll star some crappy movies. It's in Hollywood, right? They can make science fiction movies there. Hey, if Teslas fail, it could be, well, that was a failure. But hey, here is the past and the future rolled into one. If the Teslas break, well, you can at least sit in yours and watch movies in the parking lot. Well, he said he was going to build one of these. This is the only one so far that he's started to build. Will there be a whole chain of them, or will this be a one-off failure? Well, who knows? It's in California. Anything's possible there. But he is building it. It's now got 2 stories, and it's going to be up and running in a certain period of time. And the fact that it's in Hollywood, that kind of speaks volumes itself. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.